Good morning. Hello, welcome along. It is Monday. It is the 25th of July 2022. This is your 8 a.m. movement snack. It's our start of the day. Get everything moving, decrumple, decreak everything, get it oiled, we're ready. Yeah? Now, if you're on pop us a comment in, let us know what time it is. You're doing it. Let us know what the weather's like where you are. It's a bit overcast here today because it's been raining in the night. But, we'll see how it goes. Yeah? Now, if you're coming in live, pop me comments as well. Fingers crossed my comments worked today because it didn't work yesterday. I could see people coming on board and I thought comments were going on, and sure enough they were. But I couldn't see them. They weren't coming up on my screen. So, have a go, pop a comment in, let me know you're here if you're here. We're a little bit late, a little bit of a rush start to the snack. Sorry about that. Just had to quickly get something done before I could come and join you. So, we're ready, we're rocking, we're rolling, we're ready to go. I think we've got part of the collective in. I think we've got Vivian in by the looks of it. Looking from this distance, who else have we got? We've got Sandra in, I think. I don't know. I've got no comments coming up, so I can't see who's in. But anyway, we'll get ourselves ready to go in just a moment. Remember, this is our 8 a.m. movement snack. So it's about getting the body moving, getting ourselves ready for the day, decrumpling everything, decreaking everything. There's another new word for us. Decreak it. Give it a bit of an oil, a bit of a virtual WD-40 into our joints to get them going. But what we're going to do is boost that circulation. So get the heart pumping a little bit harder, get the blood moving around the body, get everything warmed and ready to take on the day. Now, many of you probably already started your day, haven't you? Probably a bit sci-fi-ish then. Many of you probably started today, probably a bit like myself, been up, done stuff already. This isn't the start of the day. That was a while ago, but we'll see how we go. How are we doing for time? Where are we? We are 8:01, so I'm going to leave the comments up on my screen. I'm going to go for a whoosh, whoosh, ping, yeah? Go whoosh, 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 ping! Good morning, everybody. Welcome along. You with myself, Dave Montgomery. Late Life Training is where we are from. This is Make Movement Your Mission, and this is your 8 a.m. movement snack, where we have 3 threes before 9. A trio of trios before 9. That's the most I can do if I feel I can't do this. You know that. So, let's get ourselves ready to go, shall we? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your 8 a.m. movement snack. On the floor, there is nothing in my way. I'm going to decide whether I want to do it standing or seated. I'm going to go standing, but I might do a bit of seated as well. You know, go with the wind. Fixed external support as far as standing is concerned, and there's nothing on the floor that can cause me any issues. Now, I normally have my socks on, but as you know, racing out the door. Got to get to work. I'm starting to work a bit earlier today as well. So I've got to drive up to Edinburgh straight after work. So I can work start earlier, finish earlier, drive up. So, nothing on the floor that can be issues. I would have my socks on if I was on the carpet floor. But if you're on a hard floor, you do need sensible, comfortable footwear. Seat-wise, we've got a strong, sturdy chair. And that's ready for us if you want to do it in seated. Now, posture. In standing, heels in line with knees in line with hips. Those knees are softened, yeah? So, there's a locked knee, there's a bent knee, there's a softened knee. Can you see the difference? Subtle difference, look. In seated, we line everything up at the bottom as well. And then once we've sat here, we need to make sure that we're away from the front of the back of the chair. So it's a lift of the back away from the chair. And then it's this lift and shift, this hip walk as we refer to it, that brings us into this front third of the chair, which is where our working position is. Then we can line everything up. And then together for standing and seated, lift, shoulders back and down, lengthen, and let's start with our circulation boosting. Bringing the heels off the floor, getting some movement, pressing them onto the balls of the feet, getting those ankles starting to move. A bit of a creak there, did you hear it? Did I get away with that crack or did you hear it? You probably heard it, didn't you? Exactly the same as standing, using support if you need it, okay? Make it a little bit bigger, bring it into a march. There we clear the floor with our feet, but only just, look, it's only a small clearance. That starts to give us more movement into those ankle joints. Now, here, if seated, if you feel you're starting to lose techniques, you start to shift a little bit or you start to lean back a little bit, back into a heel raise or a toe tap. Give it something different, yeah? You may get some fatigue into your hip flexors. They're only small muscles and we're asking them to do a lot. Pop an arm in, just the one to start off with. And then if we're not using support in standing and in seated, we can just change arms to either side and change as many times as we want. We know that in standing, if we are using support, we need to keep that support. So if the support's in front, hand down, hand off, and away we go. If the support is to the side, then slightly different. Keep the arm going a little bit longer on this one side and then lose the arm, make the march a little bit smaller, turn it into steps, as many as you need to turn to face the other way, having your hands on support as you turn, and then bring it back in on the other side. And then finally, in seated and standing, if you feel steady and stable, why not both arms, both legs together, so we get this movement happening. About 2 minutes, 3 minutes max is what we're looking for. Just enough to get that heart rate up, get the blood pumping around the body, warm the muscles, warm the joints. That's what we're trying to do, remember. So let's start to bring this down, lose the arms, make the march a little bit smaller, bring it back into a heel raise, then to a pause, a couple of deep breaths. We are ready to take on our first trio of trios, yeah? So, we'll start with head and shoulders. Base of support, heels in line with our knees in line with our hips, and those knees are softened. Let me come closer. Same in seated, we lift the shoulders towards the ears and then we press down. And the important prompts here, neck stays lengthened. So don't bring your knees down. Lift and then press. Try and press back past where you started with those shoulders. So we get a good range of motion. Now anything where we take the arms away from the body, the shoulders are involved. So let's make sure we get a good mobilization within there. Once you've done 4 or 5 of these, we're going to take a little pause and then into a rotation. So come forward, lift towards your ears, back past your earlobes, shoulder blades together and press down. We get that cyclical motion happening. Now remember that you may not have the same sort of movement on one side to the other, so you might find that one doesn't go as much as the other. And if that's the case, then there's an ideal opportunity later to try and focus onto that one side for a crowbar for you. If you do, just make sure the other side stays still and level. Don't lean. Okay, once you've done 4 or 5 of those, pause, head turn down, have some support available. Let's change our base of support slightly. So let's take the heels outside of our hips in line with our shoulders, soften the knees again. Eye line stays level here, this is the important part. Return back into the centre of the pause and turn the other way. What we're not doing is looking down or looking up. So straight turn, back in, straight turn the other way. Now, just as far as is comfortable for you, try to bring that chin over towards the shoulder. You shouldn't feel any pain, unless you have pain in your neck all the time, in which case, no more pain. Remember, if you do feel any disorientation, use your support. And remember to have that pause. It's not a turn from side to side. We get this pause in the centre, which helps that system in our ears to stabilise itself. Once you do 4 or 5, take a pause and let's head into the back of the neck. So here, I'm going to use my chin just as a guide, okay? So fingers on chin, and we're going to lengthen through this part here. Eye line stays level. So that's our first option, or we can leave the fingers where they are. Pull back and come forward just as a guide to where we need to go to. Remember, that's all you're using those fingers for, just as a guide. So come back, come in and release. Eye line staying level, re-stacking that head onto the top of the spine. It's one of the heaviest parts of the body, and if it starts to come forward, it's going to start to bring those shoulders forward as well. 4 or 5. Once you've done your 4 or 5, take a pause. Should we have another circulation booster? Should we do just the bottom half? Do you know what? I think we will. Just the bottom half, 30 seconds, a march, or a heel raise, yeah? But get those ankles moving again. Just enough of this now for 30 seconds worth of movement, just to reboost that circulation a little bit. We're going to move from our head and shoulders down to this area here, into our trunk. Now, trunk, just standing here is supporting our upper body. Sitting, if you bring your back away from the chair, is support. We use it so much. And a lot of the time we never realise how much we use it until we hurt it. And then we realise how many things we do that involve the back. So let's get this really mobilised. Now, as we come to that 30 seconds, let's bring this down back into a heel raise and to a pause. Bigger set for our base of support. So we're going to take the feet out in line with those shoulders again, knees soften. First movement is a side bend, and the important thing is it's straight down, straight up, pausing in the centre, then taking it the other way. If you've got support in front, change hands every time. Slightly different if it's to the side. We're into the support, we pause, we take it back to the support and pause. And then once you do 4 or 5 on each side, you turn round. Seated, bottom firmly on the chair. Now, my feet never lifted as I came down, so in seated, your bum never lifts. Keep the buttocks firmly on that chair as you come down to the side, pause, and then down the other way. So you're lengthening through the side of the body as you do it. This little pause in the centre could be just a little reset or a switch off. Have a bit of a Formula 1 pit stop, reset, and there you go. Yeah. Once you do 4 or 5 of those, take a pause and let's take it into this rotation. So our trunk twist. Now here, we want to stop the pelvis from moving. So let's have a look at it seated firstly. Bottom stays firmly on the chair again. Elbows in line with shoulders. I rotate to the side. I come back into the centre with a pause and away I go on the other side. Now in standing, we really need to focus on these pelvis, these hips not moving. Sorry, I covered my badge up. So we're there. Look, we're not moving that pelvis. So front with support, change hands every side. Exactly the same if it's to the side. Into the support, back, and then once you do 4 or 5, change. Or use your support to tell you what's happening. So put your hips onto the support at the front. Now, as I turn, if I feel that hip lifting away, I know I've got movement in my hip. If I've got my support behind me, if I feel the bottom lifting away from it, I know we've got movement in that hip. And we don't want to. We want to try and keep it as still as we can. So we get this best range of motion and try and focus it all in to this area here. Now again, the thing with this is stop in the middle might be a sound, okay, I just need to reset, soften my knees again, or it might be, give that a rest, get the wheels changed, off we go again. Yeah, it's your choice. Once you've done 4 or 5, each way, thinking about seat belts, rolling over in bed, even just looking down the road to make sure there's no traffic coming as you're going across it. You know, we look left, we look right, then we look left again. Or is it right, left and right again? I don't know. It's a while ago. Green coast man. I just look. Keep looking. Right, we're going into the base of our back, into our back extension down here. So again, we've got that good base of support. Now the key thing here again is that eye line stays level. So we're going to give ourselves that double chin. But what we're not going to do, another key thing, is we're not going to tip that pelvis. So soften the knees, keep the pelvis still, and we lift the chest, and then we extend backwards, coming in and releasing. So we've got a lift of the chest, an extension, back in and release. Now again, in standing, you might want to use your support as a reference point, because in here and seated, as I do this, I can feel through my bottom and through the top part of my thighs if I've got any movement. The body is telling me if I'm being good or being bad. 4 or 5 on each side, and this is going to feel really lovely on any lower back pain that you may have. Now once you've done 4 or 5 on that, take a pause and let's go back into another 30-second circulation booster. We did the bottom last time, should we do the top this time? Drive those elbows backwards, drive those arms through, keeping the movement going, getting this big range of motion. That's what we're looking for, this big range of motion. Now, if seated is where you are and you're not looking to come to a standing position, this is your opportunity to go across some of those other movements we've just done. So you might want to do a couple of, or one, of the trunk movements. You might want to take it back up to the head and shoulders. Choice is yours. If standing is on your radar, then come with us as we bring this back down, bring it to pause, and we move into our ankle, feet and toes. Now, focus on getting the best range of movement. So if you need to use support, even if you don't think you do, you might want to put your hand on it. Knee that is not moving, the leg that is not moving, the knee softened. Other foot. Eventually we're going to take our line to the front, but you might want to look to start off with. Toe on the floor, lift and put the heel in the same place. Once you're comfortable with it, take your arm to the front. And when your heel's on the floor, splay your toes. As you come over, scrunch them and then point them. Yeah? So you've got splay toes there, scrunch and point. 4 or 5 on each side. And once you do 4 or 5, turn to change to the other side. Seated, we can do exactly the same. We just need to readjust the feet, give ourselves some space to do that in, so we get a good range of motion in. But what we might find a better movement is to actually come back into the chair, extend the foot away in front, about 1 inch, 2 inches max off the floor. Point the toes away, and at that point you can scrunch them and then bring them in and splay them out. So the heel is still on the floor, still off the floor, look, as the toes come in towards our shin. Now, the key thing is here, This is not about strength. So if we need to pop our foot down every now and again, do. Might have to do it after every one, every couple, and certainly don't allow it to come on up. Focus right down to the floor. Keep it as close to the floor as you can, but enough away for actually be able to get that movement in. Once you've done your 4 or 5, change it to the other side and away you go. If we don't change it to the other side, we just end up walking around in circles. We've got to have good flexibility on both sides. Once we've done our 4s and 5s on those, if we're in standing, we can take this through, look, to our walk. This is what it's about. It's that heel placement, rolling through onto the ball of the foot and then coming up onto the toes. And that's what all those movements are about. All of these things are things that we use in everyday life. These movements make part of our everyday life. We couldn't do all the stuff that we do in a day without the movements that we've just done. We've just highlighted them here, just broken them down, just focused on them individually. Now listen, have a great day. Take care. Stay active, stay mobile. Keep crowbarring in some additional activities if you get the chance as well. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning bright and breezy, but it'll be at 7 a.m. tomorrow, okay? So I'll see you at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Keep going. Toodles from me, and I'll see you tomorrow at 7. Bye.